right. Good morning, everyone. It's a brand new week, and I hope you guys had a very, very beautiful weekend. Uh, Hopefully, you got some time to visit family, reflect a little bit, do a bit of journaling, learn a new thing here or there, and of course, have some leisure time for those of you that take it to Kidogo, and those of you that also do a bit of sports. Yeah, so we are back again for a brand new week, and it's time look into the market and see what would probably push in some volatility. So just a second, let me just connect my charger. Okay, we get this into a charger. All right. So as I was saying, I hope you guys had a productive weekend. Of course, a little bit of leisure here and there. Need to refresh your brain and reposition once again. So in the meantime, you can just like the live today, share it, drop in a higher hello, and then in a few minutes we get underway as a few more of our colleagues join in, and then we can see what the market has to offer. So once again, I'd like to remind you guys that we are coming to the end of the year. Definitely, November is already halfway, almost halfway, pretty much halfway. That will still work, and yeah, this is a time when you need to start repositioning yourself for definitely what the market will have to offer come next year. So, as usual, we would like to start off with looking at what would probably pushing some volatility in the markets, and that's always our market calendar. So, of course, this is a default Forex Factory, and we have no news events coming in today. As far as this is concerned, we have a few things lined up for the week, but you can realize that the major ones are all tentative. So that's not something to worry about. It's actually sponsored by the current government shutdown. On top of that, we do have a headline here that could be something you'd want to know. It's going to push some bit of volatility through today's markets, and that basically is the U.S. Senate Majority Leader Thune states that an agreement is nearly ready. So right now we are probably 40, 41 days into the government shutdown, and she has made the markets a bit slow and so uncertain in the past few weeks. We have had no NFP twice, 2 times in a row. We haven't had NFP figures. You can see even this time CPI is tentative. We did have a CPI come out last month, but then that would have come out again is actually showing tentative because of the government shutdown. So that's something coming in from this side. Australian dollar climbs on US shutdown. Hopes hits 12-year high on QE. Okay, QE is basically the Australian dollar. Anything else from our signal side or our analysis section on our platform this side? Anything that's major? Let's see. It's given about 10 minutes ago. So Bitcoin's weekly close above 50 weekly moving average, signal strong momentum. That's not really something I want to push out. So there's not really a lot we can see from the macro side. What would basically be pushing, or what would definitely be driving the markets are going to be just the updates for now coming in from the US government shutdown. It's what's basically going to be driving a lot of volatility, right? So here you can see on Bloomberg News, US government shutdown in focus, US stocks. Basically, that's all that is may push the market. Then maybe on the bright side for guys that trade gold, we did start very strong today, a very big push to the upside. And yeah, so we are seeing that our gold rose more than 1%, around 4,050 per ounce on Monday, reaching a 2-week high amid mounting concerns over the US economy. The yellow metal also benefited from a pullback in the dollar, which makes the dollar dominated commodities cheaper for foreign buyers. On Friday, the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index fell to its lowest level in nearly 3.5 years as the US government shutdown extended to the longest in history. Anyway, so that's just a macro overview. Not really something you can want to pay a lot of attention to for now. So we're going to just dive in to our technical side. So I'll pull out my charts, dive into our technical side, and see where the market opportunities do lie. So by default, usually tend to start off with our dollar index. I always prefer to start off the dollar index because I believe the dollar-related pairs are the most traded pairs that we tend to trade as retailers. it's just the most traded pairs because of the volume that lies within the US economy. So let's come in to our dollar related pairs and see and get my US dollar index over here. So it's been largely bullish coming through last week. We did see it coming in bullish all the way and did give us these continuations that they anticipated. So last week we had anticipated this push up from this line that came all the way up here before it triggered a retracement. This was from last Monday. We had that nice Tuesday buy in as anticipated from a Monday analysis. And then now it's coming deep into a pullback. Now, where would want the pullback to go to? When we look at daily time frame, we do have this whole breakout that occurred. So after a breakout, always anticipate a retracement. Now we have this whole zone here that occurred, and it's a very large zone given that this is a daily time frame. So we can want to refine this into certain key levels. I usually tend preferring to have like two zones I'm going to watch out for. All these become my decision levels. So the most recent one is going to be this one here, right over here in the green box. It's the one that I'm going to be targeting. Moving midway into the week, today, tomorrow, I'm going to be targeting for price to push me all the way into that zone. If I go ahead and refine that zone to a lower time frame, this now to my 1 hour time frame. So this was the push we had on Monday. From our Monday analysis, we anticipated the breakout, price to come back in here, and then give us this buy up to the upside until it gave us this shift, giving us some bit of retracement moves. So right now we see at the demand level right over here. That price came and tended to violate, push below it before it came and attempted to give us a buy to the upside. So we're going to look at what the most recent price action here would look like. But for now, I'm going to look at what areas are below here that would act as the best possible demand levels, just to push price basically for a long-term perspective. So I would have that. Then I would have this area below here as my refinement levels. I have these two refinement levels right over there. So now you can see price pushed through it, then came back above, gave it a retest, tried to push above, though we are seeing a bit of bearish strength coming in at the start of the week. And I think it's basically because of the uncertainty that we are currently seeing in the US government shutdown as well, and the fact that they're nearing to a deal. So the tension around the fact that either they're coming to seize the government shutdown or it may even continue is what's causing this pullback a little bit. But you'd expect, of course, when price bullish at some point it has to pull back, and that's what we are seeing right here. So any of those can always be able to fit the narrative. So right now what we are seeing is prices pushing lower. There is a demand level right below here, or you could call it a support if you wish. You could as well call it a support if you wish. But there is this demand level, is order block right over here. That's going to be the intraday area to look for some buying opportunities. And of course, if price comes into this and gives us some kind of buying opportunities, you'd like to take a low time frame confirmation, probably a 5 minute, 5 or 3 minute. I'll be looking to see if I can factor in some buys within this area here. For that, of course, failure to give me some kind of buying confirmations within this demand zone or that bullish order block, then I'll be looking to see if price can go a little bit lower before it pushes to the upside. Generally, because of course, last week closed bearish, so you can expect a bit of deep retracements. So that's something you can always anticipate whenever price closes a strong bearish candle like that. It's just a signal that you need to be aware of. So you want to watch how price gets into these zones. If it fails to confirm, we know we have these zones right below this that are going to be the best possible areas to start factoring in for buying opportunities. So this is a dollar index that you are seeing. It's trying to give us signs of going into a pullback. So having seen that, we can now drift a bit onto dollar related pairs. So this is USD card. This is USD card. So we did see this happen as well as anticipated last week. That breakout, the retest, and a push to the upside in correlation with what the dollar index was doing. So going into this week, if the dollar index shows us in a pullback, remember it's directly correlated to this particular pair, to USD card. That means when the dollar index is buying, you would anticipate, would as well expect USD card to give us the same bullish opportunities. All right. Yeah. So continuing from that, we can start from a higher time frame on this to just see if we can be able to drive that correlation together with cool. We can be able to see if we can be able to correlate the dollar index along with a USD card. Just a second. All right. So let me get rid of this analysis. Then we can have a fresh analysis from this. Okay. So I'm having an issue with my MT5. I'm just trying to figure it out. Second. So, okay. So I'm going to just relaunch my MT5. Then we can continue. It happens to be having some kind of issues. I don't know exactly why. Right. So guys, just a second. Trying to relaunch my MT5. I don't know what went wrong with it. So we're going to have to switch to we are going to have to switch to trading view for a while. So I don't know what's wrong with my MT5. Okay, so sorry about that. Let me just switch to my trading view. We shall continue from that side our analysis. So just let me share my screen in a bit. All right, so we're going to have to continue from this side. My MT5 froze a little bit. I don't know why. So having looked at the DXY, the dollar index analysis, we can now come in to look at USD card. So USD card coming in from the daily time frame, we could see that last week our price had given us a breakout to the upside right around this. Right around this here. So we have this whole area as our buying zone. So as long as price is within this zone, we still anticipate for bullish market opportunities because this is still the higher high that price was forming going to the upside. So we expect price to retrace into this zone here. Then we can either factor in bullish opportunities from the lower time frames. So now when you come into the lower time frames, I'm going to use the 4 hour in this case scenario to look for the best possible, the nearest demand zones. And once again, we are going to have two demand zones as we can see from here. We have this demand level over here, and then we have the one right below it. So these are the two areas of interest I'll be looking out for. Of course, there's a current one we are in, but when you look at the momentum that price is using to come, this shows a lot of aggressivity. So usually when price is coming with very, very high momentum, it's usually going to violate a few areas before it actually comes up with a general market direction. It's usually picking areas with almost enough liquidity. So with this area, it's always hard to come up with a confirmation. What you'd want to see is price going to lower zones, all these lower demand levels, and picking up a bit of confirmation through these other zones over here. So USD card will also have the same two demand levels where you want to see price get into. Then you can look for a low time frame confirmation. So the confirmations on these zones can always come from either 15.5 or even a 3 minute time frame, based on the one you're most comfortable looking for confirmations on. If you're patient enough, you can use a 15 minute time frame to wait for a viable confirmation to be formed. But these are the zones where I'll possibly be looking for some buying opportunities. Of course, when price gets there and offers the rightful amount of confirmations are required to take opportunities within these zones. So this is an outlook we want to see and see if the dollar can continue recovering with its strength as well. So on the other hand, this perfectly aligns with dollar index analysis we have seen earlier on. We can now move a bit to Euro USD, which is another major pair you may want to look out for when you're trading dollar related pairs. So shall build this up from a higher time frame as well. Now this is inversely correlated with the dollar index. And as you can notice, price has been bullish for most of the year, pushing to the upside as you can see. And then of recent, it did give us a sweep over old weekly highs right around here. We did have this sweep that pushed us into some kind of correction move or a retracement. But this being a weekly time frame, it's a very high time frame. We can focus more on the most recent price action and see what price is trying to do. Is it trying to reclaim the bullish or the bullish momentum to show that the retracement is over, or is it just retracing to continue that push to the downside or the retracement as we have been seeing? And that's in the perspective that sentiment would have changed. So we can start of recent. Price did give us this breakout right over here. Let me just turn this to a black. So we have this supply zone being responsible for this breakout as we have seen right down over here. There is that breakout to the downside, and this zone here is the supply zone responsible for it. So we want to see and see if the price action in the lower time frames is trying to push us to come into this area, or you can either look for some buying opportunities to push us all the way there, or we see if there are areas there where we can look to factor in some selling opportunities. So if I'm start refining these zones into the 4-hour time frame, currently we can see on the 4-hour price is forming some bit of higher highs and higher lows. If we get to map them out, we have this higher highs and higher lows. So that's that price will take out this most recent highs to form a new higher high. In regards or in the sense that there are areas above here that price may be wanting to target in simple terms, where we can look for either selling opportunities within the supply level. Remember, it was our weekly supply level. So what we can always do with it is we can be able to refine it into the best possible target areas where we want price to actually get to, right? So we have this extreme zone here. Then we have one right above where price currently is. So we also have this supply. It retested the one above it, and you can have this right over here. Since we want price to take out these most recent highs, because you can see the 4 hours pushed into a kind of a bullish move, right? Forming higher highs and higher lows. So the target area would be priced to take out these areas here, especially in the intraday perspective. I'll go into this zone. I don't believe this is a very strong zone. I prefer the one above here. Why I would prefer that is because we see it sweep an old high or a previous high from here before it actually goes to the downside and actually shifts. So the best possible scenario would be having this as the overall target area. Then this right can be kind of like a target area, like a TP1 or something of the sort. You can have like a take profit one there. Then this will be the next zone where you want to see is price giving me bearish opportunities. If it doesn't give that bearish confirmation, it will definitely push all the way to the extreme supply zone right over there. So, but as of now, the idea is for price to come and take out these previous highs, try and form higher highs, because the structure, as you can see on this time frame here, is leaning towards uh, 4-hour uptrend that could target all those areas above there. So going into intraday, you're going to be looking for areas on your lower time frames that could probably push you to those target areas. So right now, as you can see, there's a supply level here that could act as a kind of like a resistance area, but this can easily offer you a retracement that can give you some bit of confirmations or buying opportunities to actually push price higher. So we have that over there. Let me just change its color. So you could have this as your first trade idea. Either this resistance holds and pushes price a little bit back to our demand level, where you can look for buying opportunities to actually push price all the way into this zone. On the other hand, price could actually break out of that zone, give us either a retest of this new level here, or a retracement into this demand level, because it's the only demand level that price has offered us so far to give us a push to the upside. So ultimately, this resistance here, or that supply level, is going to give us uh, one of the best conditions we are going to be able to use to actually retrace. Either it rejects price to come to the demand level, or price will break above it and retest, or give us a retracement where we can look to get some buying opportunities to push price above that. So ideally, as long as price is above this order block here or its demand level, we are leaning towards the upside or into bullish opportunities as far as Euro USD is concerned. And this on a 30-minute time frame. So this is where I want to be positioning ourselves. Of course, if the dollar index in a retracement to the downside, then of course you expect Euro USD to be pushing to the upside. So this is something we want to watch out for. These are the trade ideas we want to have as far as Euro USD is concerned, either a breakout or a retracement, or this as well. Then of course you could have a retest, an actual retest of that resistance, something of that sort. So these are the three opportunities you can want to look out for. All the three outlooks, price can actually perform. Remember, price has no definite way of moving. Price, you may wake up and predict that price is going to the upside, but it has multiple ways in which it can achieve that objective. So it's always good to be well versed with those different ways in which the market structure can be formed and see which ones are best suited for you to get some kind of market entries or market opportunities. For that, I would like to remind you guys, in case you want to equip on those kinds of opportunities, the kinds of ways in which you can be able to know how price is moving, we have a webinar coming in at the end of this month on the 25th of November. And the links will be out very soon. You don't want to miss out on that. So yeah, once the links are out, just look in. We shall have we always do it as a end of month webinar for advanced and intermediate traders. So you want to be a part of that, where we tend to talk about the different market scenarios that we can be able to capitalize on to get daily trading opportunities. So coming into GPUSD, we can also build as well from the higher time frames. Let me just get rid of this. So can come in from the lower time frames, and you can see that similar to your USD, price has been pushing up for quite a long period of time. Then the weekly time frame started pushing to the downside a little, as you can see from here, started pushing to the downside, kind of like a correction move. So right now what we have is the most recent price action. Price has been going lower. We've been having a lot of bearish momentum, and price did offer us this breakout to the downside right over there. Price did offer us this uh, breakout to the downside. And right now, what you're seeing is price gave us a rejection, took out this week's lows, and it's a long week rejection, meaning that there's a lot of bullish momentum coming into this to push price definitely to these supply zones here or to this supply level here. So what I had marked out earlier on was this level here, because there's a lot of time frame supply around here that I would really want price to target, and probably you can look for some bearish opportunities to probably come and give us some kind of sales in that area there. So when you go to a 4-hour time frame, we're able to find the supply zone right over there. And when you look at the price action around the supply zone, there was a breakout right at this level here. There was a breakout, and it has a small supply level right around it. So that's going to give us our two supply levels that should probably want to ultimately target. Probably let's say it's like a weekly perspective or a long-term perspective for the whole week. We have this zone. I'm going to just mark it from here over to this area here. I'll mark it out like that. Those are the areas I really want to target. And similar to your USD, you're going to start the 4-hour here. It's trying to give you some bit of almost higher highs and higher lows. If you see that, it's trying to give you some bit of higher highs and higher lows. And you can start currently as we speak. We're taking out the previous highs on the left-hand side. So of course, once price takes out these highs, what you should anticipate is a retracement into a demand level that could ultimately push you to the upside. And the target areas you're going to be targeting would be we have these highs as well. Then now we automatically have the first supply level right above there. Those would be your possible target areas. So I'm going to just change these to use this over there. Those would be ultimate target levels as well. So going to lower time frames, as you can see now, as I said, that always three perspectives on which price can use. So within this, I have a pattern here. It's kind of like a failed head and shoulder pattern. Price tends to retest these levels a lot, kind of like a failed head and shoulder pattern. So still, I'm going to have the different ways in which price can be able to give me the buys to target these two zones above here. So one of them is going to be either price gives me a retest of this level here to push to the upside, or price could come all the way to the demand, then it continues to the upside. In this case scenario, I'm going to have two areas. Why? Is because price has already broken above the highs on the left hand side. So I won't expect that level to actually act as a resistance at any one given time. What I would anticipate is price to give me a retracement going into the New York session. Then I can look for some more buying opportunities to continue this push to the upside as far as GPUSD is concerned, and probably see if I can hit my TP1, TP2, and get into my ultimate selling zones that I am expecting to push price towards. So that's as far as GPUSD is concerned. So we can now move in a bit to gold. So last time when we were talking about gold, we were talking about a bit of psychological levels. And our anticipation was for price to go and reach the 4,050 level, the 4,050 level as well. The difference that in this case scenario, gold gave us as kind of a deep retracement into the below the 4,000 before it eventually came and broke above. Before it eventually came and broke above the 4,050, which was the target area from last week, our last week's analysis on Monday. So I have a couple of zones here. I want to get rid of some and maintain others. So I'm trying to see how I can do that. Okay, so I've locked these. That's okay. Then we can get rid of the rest. Let me see here. Right, so this is what we had gold do coming in from the other week. We have psychological levels marked on. We had gold give us a deep retracement all the way to about 3970s. Of course, there was a breakout here, price came back into it, then use this now to push back above the 4,000 and target the 4,050 level that we're looking at last week. So now going into what the general market structure on gold looks like. Let's have a gold chart here. Let's have our gold chart from this side and see. So we did see a gold give us a bit of a pattern. And if you realize carefully, this pattern came into a demand level. So get that demand level. So you can see the demand level down here that gold pushed all the way into. Then leaving the demand level, it came and formed some kind of a wedge pattern. Now, usually, SPL on gold, it has formed this wedge pattern about 4 times this year. And every time it has been giving us very aggressive pushes to the upside. So most of last week, gold was in a bit of a range. There's this whole range that gold was in between. So there's relatively almost about a 500, 700 pip range that gold spent a lot of time in through last week. And within this, our wedge pattern where it was forming it in between. Then right before that breakout, of course, it had levers an area that it definitely used for that breakout to the upside, which was this shift, the breakout retest, push all the way to the upside. So we're going to analyze based on a 4-hour time frame, particularly. Why is because we have this strong zone here. Now, this strong zone here was a consolidation that gold had after it began its push to the downside. We had this consolidation here. This consolidation, of course, is coupled by a very strong resistance level right around this. This is our strong resistance level. So I'm going to just change its color. Let's have it in gray. We have this strong resistance level here, and then we have this whole zone. So this whole zone is a very strong area for gold, and we want to see if gold has the capability of actually pushing above it. Once it pushes above this area, you can expect gold to ultimately push to the upside. That's where the sentiment is basically to push gold to the upside above that area, provided it takes in this area here. So of course, when you have a breakout of that zone there, the first thing you want to focus on are what would be your possible targets. Because it's not a must that gold is going to go and create new all-time highs. Because we have some zones where you'd want to pay a lot of attention to, and those are these zones that I'm marking out right over here. So what you want to see out is see that I have a breakout of this zone. We can then see if we can push gold all the way to the upside to fill in this imbalance here. And of course, if we don't have enough liquidity by the time gold gets to this hidden area here, then we can go for the extreme supply level, the extreme supply zone are right above that. So these are the areas we want to target on gold. If it's going bullish or if it breaks above that area there. Now, in case it doesn't break above that area, what are the other options you could have in terms of trading gold, especially on an intraday perspective? So when I'm looking at the free range, or the free zones above, the most recent area I'm going to see gold targeting is going to be between this area here. So I'm going to make our resistance a bit, let's put it at that. So the area we have that's nearest where gold currently is this zone here. So the idea on this would be that gold is going to continue creating. It's just like it came and pushed a high, a low, high, a slight low, then pushing a higher high. It's a breakout. We want price to actually come and give us a retracement into the demand level and then push us to that area. And of course, in case it offers us a shift somewhere in between here like this to the downside, then it's going to come in for a deep retracement all the way back to retest either this trend line from the hedge, or you can see the demand level that our gold has right over here. There's that demand zone that can actually come back to retest one of those zones over there. Is gold likely to, okay, so we're going to come to the questions in a bit, sorry. So we can have that as zone over there, just in case. You can come back to retest this area right over there. So that's a perspective you can want to see on gold. But of course, we want to be very careful with this zone here because it's a very strong zone. We saw it hold price right after this push to the downside. Then we saw it be the initiator of this push further down below the 3,900 gold price. So you want to be very skeptical with this whole zone here and how price approaches it. But of course, gold is pretty much, it has been a correction move. So we want to see if it has regained its bulls or if the buyers are coming back into the market. We have seen a very big shift from gold as people are taking out profits and definitely shorting it to a certain large extent as well. So this is something we want to watch out for as far as gold is concerned. So you can look at another pair. Let's look, I think, at GPJPY and one index. Then I'll get into your questions in a bit and what you guys would anticipate the market to do. So I think this is one of the news we have been having for some time, and we have been speaking of this strong support level here that kept holding price. The oil price would pick up enough liquidity around this area here and then pushed us to the downside to fill up this imbalance. And of course, if you've been coming to the market snapshots, we have always been speaking about the intention of price coming in to try and fill out that imbalance, and eventually it did. So now I believe GPJPY can now start its aggressive push to the upside, having filled up that imbalance from last week. So right now we can see that we have a very high momentum on GJ, pushing to the upside. So these are the most the nearest target areas you want to watch out for. You could have this for intraday perspectives as well. So you have those three areas you want price to take out at the end of the day. And I think you can always have to confluence will always be something like this trend line. A good break above it would be an extra confluence as well. So going down to low time frames, we can have this. Let's see what a price is trying to offer us here. So we have a zone here on the left hand side that could offer us some kind of resistance. So what we'd want to see is a push onto that area there, then a retest of either this trend line or a demand level, then a push to take out the other two target areas that you may want to watch out for. So there's that zone there that I set a high probability zone that would most definitely want to give us some bit of reactions when price gets to it. Coming on to low time frames again, the momentum is really, really so high, and the most recent demand level we are seeing is actually this right over here. So this would be the best possible area for price to come to, and then give you some bit of buying opportunities to continue pushing GPJPY to the upside. But the sentiment on GJ or GPJPY is still bullish ever since they had in that the new prime minister, the first female prime minister, who is pretty much very dovish. Right, so this is something I'd want to watch out for in GPJPY. I pushed to the upside. The momentum is really, really so high. So once if price will be able to offer some bit of retracements or a push lower where you can get some bit of re-entries. You don't want to be catching a falling knife just in case price gets into a deep retracement. Of course, we shall have an extreme zone, and that will be a very high probability area. Of course, the extreme zones are usually high probability areas because usually you minimize the amount of risk exposing yourself to. This will be the zone or the extreme zone to watch out for. And in order for price to get back to that level there, we would need this 30-minute time frame to come and close below this. But if it does not do that, we are continuing to use these areas here to push GPJPY to the upside respectively. So that's in case price closes below this low here. We will still have this area to actually buy from in case price closes below that demand level there. If it doesn't, we are continuing to the upside as well. So Let's look in a bit to so this is NAS 100. We also did have that imbalance get filled to the downside, and then we did get that imbalance get filled to the downside, and we are seeing bulls coming back into this a little bit. Let's have US take. Yeah, this is where I had my analysis from. So we had a demand level here that price came into and started pushing us to the upside. So right now, we're still anticipating so the high momentum push to the downside. We're still anticipating uh, more bullishness on US 100 on Nasdaq, and this is going to be a definite target area that we want price to get back into. So looking at the most recent price action in the 1 hour time frame, as you can see, this candle has just swept out the wicks on this side, or the consolidation that was there. We have had a sweep right above it. So what we want to see is a retracement in a low time frame into a demand level offered there. We even have a new candle forming in. So we want to see a push lower into these areas, then probably a push to the upside to target our areas right around here between 25,548 and 25,629. It's something we want to see. Nasdaq or US Tech offer us as far as today's price action is concerned. We see if this imbalance on the left hand side can actually be filled in all the way to the supply areas of interest. So I believe the analysis here does usually align a lot with US 30 or the Dow Jones. This our Dow Jones, and this on a 4 hour time frame. We're going to start also comes from a demand level. We have a demand level here that initiates this push to the upside. And then from here, it gives us a nice break of structure from there. So would have anticipated a deeper retracement, but as you can see, the candle that's coming in right now is actually looking to close bullish. So when it closes bullish, you're just going to ultimately want to continue with the momentum and target the older highs or the older highs on the left hand side, or the supply levels available on the left hand side, because price will be targeting, or it's always going to be drawn towards those particular zones. So going into a 30-minute time frame, nothing much changes, same perspective. Breakout, anticipate a retracement to these areas there or these zones. Then we can continue that push to target the areas are right above where we want price to get to, and can probably either continue the trend from those areas or look for some bit of kind of retracement. All right, so this is what I'm looking at on US 30 and US Tech. So right about now, I'm going to dive a bit into your questions, and we see what you guys are thinking about, what you guys are looking at as of now. So let me just put up the questions in a bit. So this was a bit of a nice university JPY did offer out of two nice entries from here to the upside. LLT. So I have no idea what LLT stands for. I don't know what you mean. You can just a bit of that's from Phantom Green. You can, how would I call it? Give us more context on LLT or what LLT stands for, just in case. Is gold likely to return to its ATH? Yeah, the possibility is there because of course still have tariffs in play. We're still expecting okay, the rate cut is no longer very expected, but just can return to the all-time highs. But as I said, it has these resistance levels that will have to actually break above, right? We have these resistance levels. Right now we can see a bit of a bull run, but we have all these resistance levels that gold will have to break out of to probably give us a new all-time high. And of course, if it's backed by more fundamentals, it will even be easier for gold to do what to actually give us a new all-time high. Right now, we don't have enough data to see what the investors are thinking about in terms of what how far gold can go up. So it becomes tricky. It becomes tricky to actually see. But then we can use the technical structures we have right now to see if gold can give us a new all-time high. So we just want to have a break, see if this area is able to hold price or not, to break out of it, fill in that imbalance, get into this zone. If price breaks above it, we shall have the extreme level. Because right now we're in a bearish structure, as you can see, though it looks like it has ended. Yeah, so there's a possibility that gold can give us a new ATH probably before the end of the year. So that's from Jeff. It's possible. It's possible for gold to return there, but we'll have to take out these obstacles right over here. All right. So in the meantime, I would like to remind you guys that don't forget to take advantage of the Karibu bonus. It's still going on, and it's 100% deposit bonus on your first deposit, of course. But yeah, you can take advantage of it as well. On top of that, don't forget we do have a number of classes running throughout East Africa. That's from Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Tanzania and Uganda, we do have online classes that you can do what enroll for with a link in the description as well. Then, of course, Tanzania, we still have physical classes. You can enroll for them. And in Kenya, we still have online classes in the morning and in the afternoon for both beginners, intermediates, and advanced traders as well. So, other than that, I would like to wish you guys an amazing day, a beautiful week ahead, and hopefully we can be able to make a penny or two. Don't forget, risk management is your best ally, and don't forget to watch out. Since we don't have a lot of news events this week, or don't have any definite news events, you'd want to keep in touch with what's happening uh, on the macro side and the federal side. That's where the U.S. government shutdown. What they are pushing towards will be very, very impactful to the market and how the market moves, and will affect most of the pairs we are trading as well. So other than that, I would like to wish you guys an amazing day. Until we meet next time, cheers.